In today's session, we're going to talk about how to deliver an online course. So at this point, assuming that you've gone through the entire analysis part, that you've designed your course, you've done a lot of work to make sure that it's ready to go. And today is the day that you're going to deliver your course. Well, maybe not today. You're watching this video, hopefully in preparation that it's going to be, a few days ahead so you can prepare. So there are two focuses that you want to maintain when you're delivering your course, and only two. So the first is connection. You need to connect with your audience. And then the second is results. Now, I put results second because it is often required to get those results. It's often required to have that connection with your audience for them to feel like you understand where they're going and where they've been. And all of that connection is important because it helps build that credibility so that they can get the results that you have designed for them. So let's talk about each of these 2 points and what you can do in order to make sure that you're maintaining that connection and that you're able to give the results that you've promised. So the first is the connection, right? Get on camera. Make sure that your face is on camera. A lot of people want to take the easy way out and just put up a slides with your voice. And if that's where you have to start, that's okay. But I want you to think about, what does it take to get your face up on camera, even if for a little bit? Like, some people might show the slides, but have their face in a little corner of it. That would be an okay start. But you want to get to the point where people are able to see your face, and so that they can feel like they are talking with a friend, that they're listening to a friend, a mentor, or something like that, but they're getting to know you. And that's hard to do through a slide. It is okay to use slides from time to time, and they are actually very good for a long presentation. And you definitely want to use slides where a visualization can be helpful. For example, if you're walking through a process and you have a graphic that helps you explain that process, by the way, don't put too many words and don't make it too hard. Don't throw a ton of cognitive overload on them. But if you have a simple process and a simple chart or something like that, that clarifies things, put the chart up. I mean, a visual is meant to be visual, but don't put up a slide just for emojis and stuff like that. And that is not as good as showing your face in order to make that connection with people. Now, if you don't feel really comfortable on camera, then showing your face can actually be detrimental, because you can seem so scared that your audience isn't really listening to you. All they're doing is feeling for you. And trust me, most people are not pointing and laughing. I would never point and laugh, but I would look at somebody who is nervous and think, I wish I could calm her down. So if you are very nervous, then try presenting your content one-on-one a few times with a few people that you trust. Try presenting your content in small groups. Practice presenting small pieces of your content so you're not up there for a long period of time. Say, for instance, you want your total video to be 30 minutes, which is acceptable for some courses. That might be a good amount of time. Say you take 5 minutes or even 2 minutes of it and present it on Facebook Live with a few friends in a group or something like that, where just a few people can do it, or on a Zoom call, or in some other way, so you can present that content without feeling extremely self-conscious. The other thing that helps with connection is to invite your audience to a different perspective, or invite your audience to see things in a different way versus forcing your views on them. So in a sense, like, instead of me telling you, get on camera, I might actually say something like, consider what is the difference between showing your face on camera versus showing the slides on camera. Slides can be helpful at times, but I want you to consider, how much more of a connection do you feel when you see someone's face? See, now I could have presented the content that way. In that sense, I'm inviting you to see it. There's a couple of strategies that we use for inviting people to see your point of view. And this is what I call discovery, by the way. But one very easy way to do it is with stories, using stories of your own, using stories of people you've worked with, that are relating to that content. So I could probably talk about how I've created courses, or how I've helped some of my clients create courses. And those stories help you see those points, and they invite you to see those points without telling you. I actually do have an example of somebody who was building a course, and the course really was helping somebody through a difficult time of their life. It was helping them through a time of life that's supposed to be, wonderful, having kids. And she wanted to do just a slideshow and hire somebody to do the voice. But she had a very personal story that tied to that content. And so can you see the difficulty in connecting with her and seeing the amazingness that she offers that particular course and that particular topic, and her story is so moving that you really almost need to see her. And she did get over that fear, and she is amazing on camera now. So a lot of those fears still exist with her, like she's still a little, hesitant to get on camera, but she actually does a fantastic job. I want you to think that maybe if you've struggled with getting on camera, that you can do that too, that you can build a connection. You, after all, are the differentiator for your course. There's lots of people who create courses on the same topic, but there's only one you. And so we want to make sure that you shine. So another part with connection is don't use scripts. I actually don't have a script for this. Not having a script also comes with some downsides in the fact that you may fumble through your words. And this is why practice is going to help. And actually, that tip that I told you of practicing short pieces of your content with other audiences and then one-on-one calls actually does give you a little practice using those words. The more you're talking and the more you're writing about the same content over and over again, the easier it is for you to articulate when the camera's on, even if you're nervous. So go out there and practice, write, talk about what it is that you're doing. Get on camera and just record it for yourself, or use your voice recorder on your phone and just record it over and over again. Now, what I do instead of scripts is two things. I will often have an outline so that I don't miss things, because once I get on camera, it's very easy for me to get distracted and go off on a rabbit trail. You've probably seen it even in these videos. So I keep this outline that really helps me keep track of all the points that I want to cover. And then the other thing that I will put in the outline is often I will put key terms, key phrases, things that I know are going to resonate with my audience so that I don't forget to say it in that way. I'm working with one client and we're trying to come up with a way to talk about people who create posts, social media posts that are supposed to be vulnerable, but they're almost like exaggerated stories, or sometimes people actually steal other people's stories and present it as though it's their own story. It's totally okay to use other people's stories. That's totally fine. But you want to tell people, you want to be honest and transparent that that's not your story. But to take somebody else's story and to post it as your own, that's not very ethical. It's not a very good choice to make. And it actually can hurt connection because people can sometimes tell that's happening. So we were coming up with a term to use for this, and we haven't landed on one. So some of it is like manufactured vulnerability and that sort of thing. But this idea of, I'm going to go out there and be vulnerable, but I'm really not. So having those terms in mind and like say landing on a specific way to phrase what you want to do, and then putting it in your notes so that you're remembering to always refer to it in that way can be very helpful. So those are the two things that I do put up. I don't put up a script, but I put up my outline and I will put up any key phrases that I want to be sure to include. So that is pretty much all my tips on connection, although I'm sure there's more. There's so much about, feeling connected. And actually in the next point, when I talk about results, it actually kind of overlaps a little with the connection too, if I'm honest. So the first part on the results, you have to get results for your avatar. You have to get results, because what is the point of having a course in which they just feel like they like you at the end if they don't make a difference in their lives? So how can you get people to make a difference in their lives? Well, the first is good design. So everything that you've done up to the point that you're getting on camera really counts towards results. Now, hopefully you have really spent time getting to know your avatars, getting to know who you're talking to, so that you can speak to what they need. So what I like to think is really love your avatar and empathize with them. If you love your avatar, then you won't just speak about your content from your perspective, from your point of view, you will actually see it from their point of view. Now, if I think about the two people that I love most in this world, I'm thinking about my son and my daughter. And so when I want to teach them or get results for them, it is not effective for me to talk about driving safe from a mother's perspective. I really have to think about what is it that's important to them that they can get when they're driving safe. So if I want my son to drive safely, how can I get into his driver's seat? How can I see the world from his point of view so that he can see the importance of driving safe? So we emphasize things like, if you're running late for school, what do you do? Well, you don't drive faster, right? So I've made the emphasis to my kids that it's super important that they arrive to school safely, not emphasizing the need to arrive on time. Yes, arriving on time to their work and to school is important, but is it as important as driving safely? No, not at all. So I'm making that point to my kids that if you're running late, that's okay, then you're just late. At that point, we can work on, what we can do to prevent that by getting up early, later, in later times, and all the other times that you're getting up for school. We'll make sure you're getting up on time so you have time to drive safely so that you can anticipate that train that's going to stop you for 10 minutes. So those are the ways in which I'm getting into my kids' heads. I'm getting into their perspective, and I'm thinking about what are the reasons that they might drive unsafe, and how can I remove those reasons so that they're doing the behavior that we want. So loving your avatar, getting into their head, recognizing the situation from their point of view is a huge, huge way that you're going to get results. And up until this point, all the things that we've talked about in designing a course and all the other videos that I've done, they are based off of that thing. Love your avatar, get results for them. The other is to talk about examples. So providing examples for them, like I provided that example of getting into the car, and then providing tools for them so that it's easy and they can see the next steps to take in that particular thing. So if you do maybe you're doing a course on eating properly, you could have a shopping list. So you don't just have to talk about all the things. Providing that tool for them will help get them results so they can start something right away. The next point for results is to consider content over sales. Now, so many people create courses, but it's got a lot of sales content in it. So try not to talk too much about you and your programs. And of course, I'm speaking as an instructional designer and not as a marketer here. If you're in the business of selling things, then you have to sell something. So sales may be important to you. But in my point of view, if you're not getting results from your courses, I think that can hurt any future sales as it is. So provide content over any sales content. Don't, remove fluff, remove things that are not necessary so that you can get results that you want. Okay, so the third part is to respond to questions. And it's really important to respond to questions in a way that respects the question asker, because a lot of times you get 10 people in your course and 9 of them won't ask anything. And these numbers are completely made up, but I'm saying that the majority of people will not ask questions. So often the people who ask questions, who feel free to ask questions, that is your angel. That is an amazing person who can give you a ton of feedback. So when you hear a question, the way that you respond to that person can encourage or discourage other people from asking questions. And the questions that they ask are valuable data for you. First of all, it tells you what you may have missed when you did your design. It tells you what you may have explained that's a little bit confusing that you can work on and clarify and make even better. And most importantly, it can help you get results for that particular avatar. So they may be giving an example in their business, like you've shown them exactly what to do in whatever it is that topic is, and they're bringing up a specific example for themselves. That's your opportunity to get results for that specific person, and that's exciting. So how you treat those questions is so important. Sometimes there is a tendency to hear a question and feel defensive. So I want you to try and be prepared for people to ask questions that you might feel are too simple. Like I already covered that material. So be prepared to answer those questions with so much love and respect that you are encouraging other people and that you're not discouraging or cutting off that data that can help you so much. So I want to close this just by saying being prepared is your key to being present. And being present is so incredibly important in your course. So if you have any questions about the whole preparation part, go back and look at all the videos. I talk a lot about how to design your course. So when you've done all that practice and you've done all the preparation, you will be able to deliver a course that gets results for your students.